I mean, when you look at their attacking line, it's like, oh my God, it's mouth-watering, really. I mean, there's just a plethora of talent there that you are undeniable. I mean, Robert Lopez Mendy is fantastic in himself, but then you've got Stefan Schrock, Bienvenido Marañón, as you mentioned, OJ Porteria, Manny Ott is back.
Which is a massive signing, I think.
Yeah.
Massive signing.
Mike Ott's still there. You got Minigishi there. So they're looking great. De Bruyker as well. Takashi Odawara, who I'm a huge fan of. I think he's a fantastic player.
And in worst case scenario, if you're having an off day, we'll stick James Young-Husband off the bench.
Yeah.
And we can play direct into him. Yeah. And he's probably going to be a threat from set pieces or from a long throw or
correct
from a cross.
Welcome to another episode of Across the Line. On this one, we focus in on the upcoming Philippines Football League season, which is just 2 weeks away. We break down everything on this PFL 2020 preview, all the teams involved, as well as providing our rankings, our predictions for this season. If you like this episode, please do subscribe to our YouTube, our Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us. It really does mean a lot to us if you do that, and share it with your friends. And don't forget to join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Thank you for joining us on this Football Friday, and we hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Across the Line, our 30th episode already. Goodness me, Chris. How fast was that?
It's unbelievable. I can't believe we've got to number 30. I'm quite shocked and surprised, if I'm perfectly honest. No, I mean, for this episode, before we get going, firstly, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's downloaded the episode, who's watched us on YouTube, who've shared the episode with their friends. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to us. We obviously did this. It was a passion project initially for Sadelf and I. You and I had spoken about doing a podcast since way back, you guested on the show. You liked it. Got you on board, and it's just something that we felt was needed, really, because we felt that the Philippine football public wanted to engage in these types of conversations and give them an outlet to hear our thoughts, players' thoughts, and for them to express their views, and it seems to have resonated with the Philippine football public, and just. On behalf of the show, I just wanted to say thank you. We've got to episode 30 and we couldn't have done it without their help and support.
I think people are, hungry for more than 7-minute sound bites, 8-minute discussions. We get an opportunity to really dive into some interesting stuff. And I met some of the individuals at the game yesterday who've been tuning in and religiously to the show, to have people call out and say, hey, I enjoy the show. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It really does. And there's one guy in particular who says he likes to listen to the podcast inside the car, and his wife is so sick of your voice. Chris Greatwich in particular. I guess I guess my voice is a little bit more palatable. I don't know.
Was it my wife who was saying that? No, I think, when we do these podcasts, you don't really know who you're affecting, and you don't know who is tuning in, right? You have an assumption, you think you're going to hit a certain demographic, but I've spoken to mothers, for example, who listened to the Neil Etheridge episode, who were touched by his openness with regards to mental health and some of the issues that he's experienced. And she told me that, her son listens to the podcast religiously and also suffered from mental health issues. And was like, if someone like him, a superstar, an idol, someone who's iconic in Philippine football, has the same insecurities as me, a young boy, then it's okay for me to feel this way. Right. And I think, and I've had many of those types of conversations with parents, with kids, with football fans who've, listened to snippets of conversations that we've had with guests, or conversations that you and I, Sadaf, previously have had. And it seems to be something that resonates with those parents, with those players, with those fans. Yeah. And it's heartwarming. It's really heartwarming, and it gives us that impetus and that confidence and that energy to want to continue producing more.
100%. It is. It's been a fantastic run so far, and we hope for many more episodes down the road, man.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So thank you to everyone.
Yeah. For sure. Looking ahead, though, we have some excitement going on in Philippine football, and we've been scratching our head. When are we going to find out about the league? When is it going to happen? Is there going to be one?
Who knows?
Which teams are going to be involved? Are they going to be on TV? What is the schedule? All of this are question marks, right? But what we do know, there is a date. 21st of March.
Okay.
The league begins.
Official.
Yeah. That's all we know. That's all we've been told.
Shall we speculate on some of these other things then?
Okay.
So we know that it's going to be on the 21st.
Yes.
Right. So that seems to be locked in. That was it announced on the Facebook page or social media? Or?
Yeah. All of their social media channels,
Right,
the PFL. It said was football is coming back or something of that nature. 21st of March. No mention of the teams involved.
The teaser.
Jumping
Piquing everyone's interest. Who's on that social media site? They need extra money for that. Brilliant. Okay. So we know it's going to, we hope that it's going to be on that start date. What's the deal with like a venues and stuff? Is that
Rizal Memorial Stadium?
all the games?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's the main one. So if there's going to be any movement in terms of like if there's going to be a conflict in schedule at the venue, I believe Binyan is one of the venues that is
Secondary venue.
About.
Okay.
Yeah. So there. We don't know exactly what are the dates. So obviously we're going to expect weekends.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, of course, a midweek fixture from time to time if they're going to try to move the schedule along faster.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the latest with regards to like television and stuff? Because I know that Qatar Airways were it was one of their mandates, right? It needed to be televised, but any news on that front?
No.
Anything you can disclose? You got a little
I wish
grin.
there was something for me to share. You
Right,
know?
okay.
And it was very vague the way they stated that, right? Did they say regularly on TV or are they going to just put the finals on TV, right? Because those are completely different things, right?
Yeah.
Both of which will still hit their statement, which was we're going to be on TV at some point. So,
Right.
I mean, we
Regularity is the question mark.
of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So, from my understanding and my gut feel is that the PFL is going to produce their own matches, right? If they're going to produce their own matches with the cameras that they have, they're capable of doing it.
Right.
It's just that you have to train the people to shoot it correctly, and
Right.
you have to shoot and cut it correctly. Is the main thing, right? Can you direct the cameramen properly?
Yeah.
That will develop a product that you can then utilize and cut apart in many different pieces to make highlights, to make, you know what I mean?
I think this is so funny that you mention this because I would talk with Phil and James Younghusband a lot about why is the Premier League the most watched league on the planet.
What did you guys think?
And a lot of it is down to how it actually looks on the television.
Yeah.
The sound from the fans, the packed stadia
Yeah.
every week, the proximity to the field is a huge one. And then the last one is exactly what you've intimated. It's the cuts, it's the zoom ins, it's the different angles that they adopt.
Yeah.
All of those things, when you put them together, create this ambiance of just high level, high intensity, exciting football.
Yeah.
And obviously the action on the field as a product, it's pretty high paced, it's fast. The tempo is a million miles an hour. It's the fastest football on the planet. But when you temper that with all of those aspects, it just creates this full 360 experience that people at home, when they're watching, feel engaged and engrossed in the action on the television.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, when you're watching it through the one-man camera and it's just, you know, shifting from side to side, you know, and the pace of the game is going to be slower anyway from what they see in the Liga or what they see in the Premier League, just because the game isn't as fast.
Yeah.
Temper that with the fact that it's roasting hot, right? So the game is going to be slower because of the fact that it's so hot.
Yeah.
Right. Temper that with the fact that you've got one guy with a camera and he's panned out to the most panoramic view possible. Amazing
for coaches.
Yeah, it's all right for me. Yeah, watching the game, I can see everyone on the pitch. But I mean, like, you want to cut.
You don't want a technical video.
No,
you want an entertainment product.
Yeah, you want a product. If you're watching TV, you want a product. I mean, like, you watched last night's games. I think it's decent. You know, it's not amazing, but it's decent. You know, so you cut and you crop and you edit and it just cuts to to the feel of the action, which is obviously a higher level because it's the premier teams in Southeast Asia.
Mm-hmm.
But are you going to tune into some of these games if it's just one guy and his camera and he's just
To be fair,
shifting from time to time?
they've improved lately to 3. So
Okay,
it's not great, but
then
3
let's try to get like a little bit closer to the action. Let's try and get someone with the production value, making sure that they're cutting and cropping and going to each particular camera at the key moments, key aspects of the game. And I know that's going to take some time, but in order to enhance that experience, that's got to be there.
Yeah.
It's got to be there.
And the thing as well is you can't just take the product that was broadcasted out and cut that product and put it out as highlights. You also have to have the footage inside those cameras and then re-edit it separately. You know what I mean? So there's all of that. It's time consuming. They're on a how many people work over at the PFL that are going to do that? You know what I mean? You're going to need proper production.
Get Louis Clark on the case. He's got his Your Instant Replay business going, and he is top dog for that. But he puts together a really nice highlight package. He'll edit it the day of the game. He spends all night with his crew doing it, and then the next morning it's already out. I understand it's hard work.
Yeah.
But someone's got to do it. I mean,
100%.
someone's just got to do it. If you want the game to grow,
Yeah.
you've got to be producing this type of product because it's what the fans want.
I agree.
But yeah, we went off on a tangent there. We had no intentions of really talking about how it's filmed. So we think it's potentially going to be on TV, but the likelihood is going to be on a live stream.
Yeah.
All games.
The reason why I mentioned it as well is because I just read news that J League is trying to be one of the top 4 leagues in 2030. By 2030, they're going to be one of the top 4 leagues. They produce their own content. And that's one of their biggest strong points, actually. But the content needs to be filmed and produced well. If it's not produced well, you're not going to get on TV because the television networks are not going to take the chance of producing this content and spending the money to travel there and do all of that because they don't believe in the product.
Yeah.
Make them believe in the product.
Yeah.
You got to show it to them.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. So let's see what happens with TV or how people can consume the games.
Let's talk about the teams involved.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Azkals development team. That's the latest one that has been included. So judging from last year, if the cast is complete, then the teams are up to 7. Right?
Is that right?
7 teams.
So we're assuming, let's just go through them then. So we got...
so 8 teams actually.
Ceres.
Yeah.
Kaya.
Yeah.
Stallion.
Yeah.
Global.
Yeah.
Azkal Development Squad. Team. Mendiola.
And then we had Air Force. And Green Archers. Green Archers dropped out.
They're out.
Yeah. And from my understanding, Air Force is not going to be joining either. So now we're back down to 6. We added 1. We took 2 steps back.
So we're down to the bare bones again.
Yeah.
Okay,
6.
so 6. So we've got the mandatory 6 that is needed to be compliant with the
AFC Cup. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go through some of those teams. I'm not going to do it in kind of title order. I want to talk about teams that maybe have come across the juiciest in this window. So let's talk a little bit Azkal development team.
Yeah.
Because we had Harvey on the show last week.
Yeah, fantastic.
And thank you. It was quite insightful because we glossed over it a little bit the week before. He gave us a little insight into how they're setting up, how they're shaping up. I was at training yesterday with the academy, and they were in before us. So Elias Modal was in town, the Norwegian wingback who comes highly rated.
Oh, I've not seen him play.
And I was with him in China last year for the national team squad in China. Great player, really really nice guy, really interesting story. Would love to get him on the podcast. Very very interesting background. I'm not going to spoil it, but he's here. There's a couple other older players that I think have come into the mix as well. So
I think Marvin's over there.
Kurt Dizon.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of elder statesmen mixed in there with the young guys.
Yeah.
So I think they have a half decent team.
Yeah.
I think they'll certainly be able to compete at this level. And I think it's going to be an exciting transition for the likes of Harvey and some of the other guys coming out of college or younger pros who haven't really been able to forge their way in the professional game to really make themselves noticed, to potentially propel themselves into the full national team, which ultimately is the primary reason for this squad being in place.
I think one of the big things for me in terms of the Azkals development team is it provides the default team to root for, right? If you're from the outside looking in, you don't know anything about the PFL. Why don't I use this as my benchmark, right? This is a Philippine team. I can get behind them. This is the next generation. And then from there, you will then be able to gauge the quality that they are up against, right? They go up against a Ceres team, get smashed. They're like, oh, wow, maybe I should be paying more attention to Ceres, watching their other games and seeing how they fare. But I think, it provides that point where everybody can gravitate towards, right? And they're going to be a big part of this league. I really do think that they really bring eyeballs to the league, and it creates a nice point of tension for everyone. You know, like you can't be part of the ADT and getting smashed by Ceres and Kaya and other teams on a regular basis. You're going to be forced to really up your game. So I think it's going to be a fantastic addition, especially to this year's PFL.
Is it going to be similar to like the Lions in Singapore, where they cannot qualify?
I think so.
Like AFC competition, or
because they're not a real club, they didn't go through licensing, all of that. So you're not going to be nominated, even if you are a champion.
Yeah, I guess even Albirex, for example, they can't technically win. They win the league, but they can't.
That's correct.
Use it as a platform to enter some of the regional competitions. So I think that's great. I mean, what's the deal also with the likes of, let's say, for example, Marco Casombre, who signed with Kaya? Is he eligible to play on the ADT squad?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think he signed a contract with the club, and he's going to be utilizing the club on a weekly basis. I don't see how he could, pop on over to the ADT from time to time.
Yeah, because I was thinking like the likes of Dylan De Broeke, Marco Casombre, like let's say they have a game, Ceres plays Kaya on the Saturday, or Kaya plays Mendiola on the Saturday. Yeah. ADT plays Global in a midweek game. Is because I think they have got that relationship in certain leagues, so whereby you can have your underage players attached to the squad still, so the club that they are actually attached to, but then they're eligible to play in what's essentially a friendly game with their team. You're saying that's not something that's allowed.
I don't know.
As far as you're aware.
Honestly, it's something that I'm going to be interested to see how that transpires over the league. But currently, from my understanding, it's like if you're part of Kaya, you're part of Kaya. If you're part of Ceres, you're part of Ceres. So.
Because obviously you want to have a pool that's big enough. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like, because let's say, for example, Marco, he might be playing in an under-22s, under-23s, or someone in a similar situation to Marco coming through the system. You might be wanting to play in a SEA Games, or you might be wanting to play in an Olympic qualifiers. Yeah. So when are you going to get a chance to play with them?
Training camp.
Yeah, so only really training camp. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure if there was legislation or, a loophole whereby you can go and play with that team when you're not playing with your parent club. Right. I wasn't sure if that was something. Because obviously, really, the ultimate aim for that group is to perform either as a collective with the 23s, 22s in Olympics, SEA Games, etc. Yeah. Or conversely with the full national team. So you kind of want to get the best homegrown players playing with that team. Yeah. But obviously if someone like Marco, who's come through the system here and he's been attached to the club before, you also want him to play for his club that he's had an affinity with for the longest time, right? Yeah.
I would think there might be a way to do that if the player doesn't play much for the club.
Like a loan or something?
If you're sitting on the bench anyway, right? Like, hey, coach, the ADT is kind of interested in seeing if I could come out and supplement their right back position, for example. Then maybe you can get loaned over there for a little while. But if you're playing week in, week out, I don't think you can.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that up because I didn't know if you knew anything about that. But I like the concept. We spoke about it before, didn't we? About having a development team that could perform in the league. It serves multiple purposes. Yeah. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see how they pan out this season. So they're definitely a team that we're going to look out for and support. And I think likewise other fans, maybe other teams or people who perhaps don't have an affinity to a team, they will end up rooting for them, which I think will be quite nice. I mean, the other team that I think has made a lot of noise in this window as being global.
Yeah.
So it looks like they've got new management, new owners, the Mazzini group.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember. Is it Hong Kong based?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah. They've obviously made their foreign quota signings already. So they've got goalkeeper based in the UK.
Scottish, is he?
Yeah, I think Scottish. Played a little bit in England as well as Scotland. They signed a couple of guys with some interesting youth team backgrounds. They signed a player who had previously been at Liverpool, and then a guy who'd been on the books at Manchester United. Yeah. So,
got a guy from LA Galaxy.
Yeah, then they got the guy from LA Galaxy.
A couple of them, actually. One of them is like an academy product, I believe it was.
Yeah, and came through the system and signed an MLS contract.
Yeah.
I think he played on their LA Galaxy 2 for the majority.
I know a little bit about him, actually.
Yeah, go on.
So there's Villanueva, who was the guy who has a picture with David Beckham playing alongside him in the LA Galaxy.
We've all got that one, yeah.
The other one is Rio Fuji. Actually played a lot with Kaya. Has been training a lot with Kaya.
Right.
Was in the periphery of being part of the squad, actually. Right. So it's understandable that he didn't get an opportunity to be a part of this Kaya squad, so he's going to need some football time, and Global has provided him that opportunity.
That's 5 foreigners.
So I don't know how everything is going to pan out.
Is it one of them going to get the last minute chop?
Maybe. Okay. But Rio they announced him, so I was a bit surprised as well. So I wonder what spot he's going to be taken over there. But he's a good player. So
yeah, okay.
So it'd be nice to watch. Obviously, they've got Misak back in the fold. Jerry Barbaso is back for them. They've got Cordova in defense, so a few cards there.
For sure. Loves a red card.
It's interesting to see, I mean, they've just announced their new coach who's going to be who's back, looking a lot like Mauro Rosen.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't Global themselves that made that announcement, right?
No, it was them.
But the picture, so for the listeners, viewers, there was a post with Gary Phillips, who's been announced as the head coach.
After much deliberation, they said. Yeah. After much deliberation and a lot of talks and discussions, we found our man. Mauro Rosen. It was the picture. It was the picture, and I was like, huh.
I think that was the PFLs.
No. 100%, I can guarantee
it was Globals,
yeah,
and that was just a retweet from the PFL, because that was what I saw it. Okay,
yeah.
It was definitely Mauro Rosen. On one of the pictures, or there's 2 pictures side by side, right?
Yeah. So the first picture was Mauro, and then you swipe it, and it's Gary. It's like they don't even look remotely alike. So it was just funny for people who knew Mauro.
Can he confirm or deny that Mauro is part of the coaching staff? Or
that's a question that we should be asking them. Huh?
Maybe that's okay. Maybe he is coming back. Who knows?
But first and foremost, to everybody who's been making rankings, there's been people making rankings in PFL United, Fan United, stuff like this, right? Some people have Global first Ceres, understandable. They didn't lose a game last year.
Yeah.
And then they have Global in second place based on signings alone, and Global being Global, I suppose. The disrespect is unbelievable.
Why?
Kaya placed second last year.
Yeah.
Right? Is in the AFC Cup this year. Yeah. Is a team that is pretty much still solid in my regard. To think that Global is all of a sudden just going to overtake a team that finished last year and is, has not had time to gel. You could throw in Stallion there. You could throw in ADT. But to place Global in second place, I don't know. That's... Yeah, I guess it's a sign of what some people's impression of Kaya is in that regard. But I think it's just it's misplaced optimism.
Is it?
Yeah, in my mind.
Well, I mean, I look at the signings that they've made. Pedigree-wise, pretty good.
For sure.
Pedigree. Is this just your bias coming to the fore here?
Could be.
Right? And I'm looking at Global. They've signed an experienced campaigner, multiple title winner in Misak Bahadurin.
Yes.
right? So they've got a coach in Gary Phillips who I coached against him, right? And his teams played really, really good football.
Yeah.
They played really good football. He didn't have the players at Davao. He didn't have the players.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt sorry for him a little bit because he wanted to play a particular way. It was one of those where you could see what he was trying to do, but you kind of felt for him because it was like, but the ball's just breaking down on an individual who's probably playing out of position. He hasn't had the time to work with him yet, or he's had to force that player to play in that position.
Yeah.
Or he just doesn't know that player isn't capable of doing that yet because he hasn't, established that rapport.
Yeah.
But I really liked how his team played. I thought they played really, really good football. I think he'll ruffle a few feathers. He's quite a boisterous guy on the sideline. So I think you need some colourful characters in the league anyway. You know what I mean? It's. I wouldn't mind seeing a few sort of touchline rivalries. It would be quite nice. I mean, again, it's not going to be sort of Guardiola and Mourinho or Wenger Ferguson type, but you do need a little bit of
that tension on the side.
Need a bit of tension, And I don't know. I think Global might be okay. I think the problem you've got with Global though is exactly what you said. It's just the time, to gel.
And
who are you going to get? Like, if you're a really good young Filipino, for example, right, you would have been snapped up in this time frame between the end of last season and now.
Yeah,
more than likely, right?
Yeah.
So, you would have been on the ADT. You would have been picked up by Ceres, by Kai, whatever. And if you're not, Global will probably have to play over the odds to get you.
Correct.
Right. So there could be some guys there rubbing their hands together, thinking I can make myself a decent. Little bit of money here because you've sort of boxed them into a corner.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. But they're gonna have to pay a premium for players because they need to make up the numbers. But
that for me is the main thing. The main thing is people's propensity to underestimate people like Jalsor Soriano, Shermar Filonco, individuals who might not. You look at a team sheet and be like, ooh, that's not a name that pops out, but he's gonna be solid. He's going to be a solid performer, right? How many players could you look at their lineup that's going to be like, yeah, that's a local boy that's going to be very hard to beat. That's a local boy that's going to be solid and keep the ball. No, I don't see it. So that's like, you might have 5 good players. Football's 11 on the pitch. And if one guy doesn't know how to pass that ball, your rotation is going to get screwed up. So I think that's going to be the case for them. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Because then that'll make
at all.
No, I hope that it's going to be competitive. You know what I mean? I hope that the league, if Global is good, it raises the level. I want to get back to 2017 where it was like every game was you're rubbing your hands, your palms are sweaty before the game because like you don't know what's going to happen against Meralco. You don't know what's going to happen against Global back when Global were at their peak. And there's a Ceres game around the corner. It's exciting. For a football nut like myself, it's like every week. I'm raring to go. I want to take my seat. I don't want people talking to me. I want to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna play a Ceres match and the next week you're gonna play a weekend, let's say like a struggling Mindiola side, and you guys already know the result before the first ball is kicked, it's not as exciting, right? So to have Global pump up their resources again, hopefully they've settled all of their situations outside, and I think it'll make for more entertainment value. Plus, you've got ADT there, and you got Ceres, and you've got a league there of 4 individuals, 4 teams, plus Stallion, who's always a contender. Man, it could be some fun games every week.
Well, the way you're talking about Global, there might be a spot open for me then to make a comeback as a player.
Hey, you never know, huh?
Hey, I'm eligible. I'm Filipino. I've got a passport.
That's right.
Former national team. I might get a highlight video and send it over to Gary. See what he thinks.
Yeah.
My legs aren't quite there, but I could do a job maybe just sitting in front of the back four.
That's right.
Just pass it 10 yards. Yeah, I can shield all day long. Don't worry about that. So so we've got those two. I think they're the ones who sort of made the most noise in this sort of in his break. Teams have sort of been relatively quiet. I mean, Mendiola, they've lost quite a few of their foreign guys. Yeah. Obviously, the Kaya picked up the young up-and-coming rising star out of Tondo.
Yeah, Roberto Corsame Jr.
Roberto. So it'd be interesting to see how they will fare this season. I know that the Argentinian boy,
Senja,
who was quite, it came out of nowhere really, didn't he? And it was like, wow, okay, he's a decent prospect. Has moved on to Stallions. Stallion. Have they picked up anyone else? I haven't really seen much in terms of their signings, big announcements, or
3 new foreigners more.
Which they normally have a turnover of foreign players, don't they, each year?
So they've got Ricardo Senja, he's one, and then they've got 2 more Korean boys, I believe, who have come in.
Okay.
With Stallion, you're always going to be able to keep the core together, which they have done.
Okay.
So it's going to be a matter of how they're going to position their foreigners and how they're going to support Abu Si up top.
So he's going to stay?
Yeah, I think he's the only one who stayed.
He's a handful, isn't he?
Yeah, and then now you got Senja, who's got the capability to provide him some good balls moving forward. It's their defense, I think, where they kind of struggled last year.
Right.
They kind of got run over on a few occasions. So I think it's really with the injury to Matthew as well didn't help them. But I think they need to bulk up a little bit. There's going to be their backline's a little bit short.
Yeah.
I would say their center backs are like not much taller than me, and I'm only 5'4.5". So, I think they need to bulk up a little bit, or else they're going to get bullied at the back again. So we'll see what signings they come out with. They're going to be releasing their lineup very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see how they get on. So that leaves us with the big two.
Yeah.
The big two. I mean, Kyle, obviously, they made their announcements
early.
Yeah. Alfred Asai has hung up his boots. So
he keeps saying I retired him through social media.
Yeah. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he hasn't made it official.
Hey, you never know, right?
Yeah, maybe Mendiola might be looking for a couple of foreigners, and maybe he might sneak back in there. But obviously, he's concentrating on the academy stuff with me.
Yeah.
So he's one who's departed from the lineup, but they replaced him with not a like for like, but obviously they got Carlisle, the guy from Trinidad and Tobago. Saw him really for the first time last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks a handy player.
Yeah, solid at the back for sure.
Yeah.
Needed a bit of heft, especially against the bigger boys in the AFC Cup.
Yeah.
So, commanding presence in the air, good positioning, rather athletic. Still got a burst of pace on him. So, very solid player.
Yeah,
and highly experienced as well.
Yeah, so he was a good pickup. And then Daiso, the Japanese boy, looks like a live wire winger.
Yeah.
I mean, you compared him to a Louis Clark type.
Yeah.
On the field.
Yeah.
Not off it. But I mean, he looks like someone who's going to get the fans off their seats, and hopefully can provide us with some fun attacking moments this season.
Yeah, definitely. Had some oohs and ahs in the crowd yesterday when the AFC Cup was going on. So, he's the type of player that can produce a little bit of magic. So definitely looking forward to that. And he's got a work rate and good attitude as well. So.
Yeah, so he's good, and he's going to be playing alongside his compatriot in Masanari Omura, aged 58.
He doesn't miss a single game, right? Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, incredible staying power, longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Been an incredible servant for Kaya. Moved into a more defensive midfield role, which was a surprise. But I'm guessing with Carlisle slotting into that centre-back slot, and obviously Simone Rota playing alongside him yesterday, that looks like that could be quite a formidable centre-back pairing. So, having having Massa's guile and Naus just sitting in front of the back four, offering that sort of protective shield, which is the role I tip myself at Global. I think he's going to do a good job in there. Having someone like Marwin to provide a bit more legs and perhaps more attacking flair alongside him. I think that could be a nice balance between those two. Yeah,
and you mentioned Simone, and I think a lot of people are overlooking Simone. A lot of people have been overlooking Simone for a while. A lot of people have retired him. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just saying that he doesn't have it anymore, and that's back-to-back games. He's played 90 minutes in the AFC Cup, and he's looking sharper again.
Good.
It's amazing to see. I really am a big fan of Simone. I mean, not just as a football player, but as a human being. Yeah. So it's nice to see him succeeding again on this stage, Simone is there. The defense is looking solid with Marco as well.
Yeah.
So
good to have a nice return home for him, because I think, He's obviously been away for a few years. I'd like to see him get a string of games together because I think he's someone who's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But I've been saying that since he was 15.
Yeah.
You know, so there comes a point where you need to realize that, and you need to be playing regular football, and you need to be showcasing yourself as look, I'm of national team caliber.
Yeah.
Because that's really where he was earmarked from when he was pretty young. But he needs to start realizing it now. So
Yeah.
I'm really keen to see how this year pans out for him, because I think it's a big year. I think there's only so long you can be considered this young, up and coming prospect, because he's 22, 23 now?
21, I believe. 21, yeah.
Turning 22 this year.
Yeah.
So he needs to start producing.
Yeah, solid player though, and I think he's got the mindset to do it as well.
Yeah.
Jason Panhai is getting a new lease of life. Started 2 AFC Cup matches.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's someone, you know what? And I said to him when I left, I said, he's the person I feel most guilty of how I treated him. Not. I think it was a mixture of, he came in with really high hopes, and I had a lot of high hopes for him. Other players just seemed to be ahead of him in the pecking order, and just seemingly just kept performing and producing.
Yeah.
Like we had Jovan playing on the left for a lot of time, and then we had Jordan and Mendy. We'd play Mendy on the right. This is how long ago we were talking now, and it was like his attitude in training was first class. His dedication and his application, and he was so positive around the camp, and he fell short because then the spark plug became Eric Giganto, because he would come off the bench and he was like this Energizer bunny that came off the bench and seemingly would score every time he came off the bench. And it's like, where am I going to fit this guy in? It was just time after time he just kept producing, Eric, and I was like, sorry, JC, I can't get you in. And it became a bit of a joke, because I would sit him down and be like, Jay, sorry, you're not going to be involved this weekend, and it's like, I can't say any more than just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're producing every week in training. You've got a great attitude. And I just felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
I felt really sorry for him. And the culmination of that was when I think he scored his goal in front of his home crowd, and the crowd erupted.
Yeah,
the players
yeah.
went crazy, and it was like such a poignant moment, because he'd worked so hard for that moment.
Yeah.
But to see him now really become a fulcrum of the team now, he's taking all the set pieces. He was unlucky not to score last night. He had a great free kick, which I thought was in. Again, although he's someone who's been around for a long time, he's another one who effectively is a brand new signing. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see him have another, because I think he can build on last season's performance. I think he had more minutes last season. Yeah. But he seems to be really sort of under the table with that starting lineup now. So I'm hoping he can continue to produce.
And you mentioned, you hit it right on the head there when you said his attitude is the main thing. He's never been a toxic character inside the squad. Puts his head down, puts in the work every training session, and he's a great example for individuals who are frustrated about getting a look. There's a lot of people who grumble when they don't get a chance to play, and that is understandable. But if you start to put your head down, you become a little bit more of a toxic character inside the squad. You only have to look over to your right side and see, Jason there, putting in the work. Yeah. He never, says anything. He just tries harder. And that's the kind of person that you want in your squad.
Absolutely.
So he's amazing. Of course, Taku Uesato is the new guy. And
marquee signing, would you say?
Yeah, man. I think he's the type of player that he looks good now, but once you start figuring out the way he moves or what he likes to do, then he becomes so much more of a star signing. You just need to be able to link up with him a little bit. Yeah. He's not the stereotypical forward the way he moves. So once he develops that understanding with Jovan, I think it could become not only a powerful strike force, but an exciting and entertaining one to watch.
Yeah, because I think it was really sad to see his demise at Ceres. Because I watched him at JPV, especially his first year, and I was like, this player's class. Yeah. This player's class. Yeah. And I thought he would be someone who would have fit really well in our system. Just like a good foil for a Jovan, a good foil for a Mendy, or even a Jordan. Yeah. When we had him, I thought he'd be someone who'd provide a good foil. And then to see him go to Ceres and just not slot in. Yeah. We went through a really long goal drought, and his confidence was shot. And I could visibly see it just draining from his body with every passing game. And, obviously it led him to leave the Philippines and didn't really play for 12 months.
Yeah, beach soccer.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that he can find his stride again because, form is erratic, but class is permanent. And he is class.
Yeah.
And on his day, he's arguably the best player in the league. So I would love to see him return to form because I think he's someone with unbelievable technique and is as good a finisher as we've seen in this league.
Yeah.
So if he can recapture some of his form from a couple of years ago, he can be a real force again.
Yeah, so that's Kaya. I mean, obviously you've got the likes of Arnel Amita, Eric Giganto off the bench. Still solid in goalkeeping with Mike Casas there. It's a solid side. That's the way I see it. Obviously, I work for Kaya and I'm biased. I like the players personally. But when I look at it when I try to be as objective as possible, the local boys are super solid. We've got some good pickups. The coaching staff is solid right now. So
yeah, but I think obviously one thing with that is that's the third coach in 3 years.
Yeah. Correct.
So, and in a short season, the one thing that needs to be apparent from the get-go is that they're in cahoots with the coach.
Yes.
Right? It needs to be coherent.
They need to buy into it.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Because, it's not like it's a 50-game season.
Yes.
Where you can kind of find your stride.
Correct.
It's, you lose a couple of games.
Yeah.
And the pace at which Ceres have demonstrated in previous years is once they get their head in front, it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over. You can't pull them back. So you've got to be hot on their heels, or you've got to be neck and neck from the get-go. And 3 coaching changes in 3 years. Okay.
Tough.
It's tough. It's tough for the players to okay, this is another way, a new way of playing. Again, this is another preseason where we're trying to figure out new ideas. Again.
Yep.
So, they need to make sure that they buy into Coach Yu's ideas. He's no stranger to this league, so that's a benefit.
Yes.
So and he's got foot soldiers in there who are going to be familiar with the way in which he wants to play.
Sure.
In Massa, in Taku and Daisu. So let's see. I'm excited to see how their season pans out.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I just feel we have one team to talk about, and it's they're monsters. They're a behemoth.
I mean, when you look at their attacking line, it's like, oh my god, it's mouth-watering, really. I mean, there's just a plethora of talent there that you are undeniable. I mean, Robert Lopez Mendy is fantastic in himself, but then you've got Stefan Schrock, Bienvenido Marañón, as you mentioned, OJ Porteria, Manny Ott is back,
which is a massive signing, I think.
Yeah,
massive signing.
Mike Ott's still there. You got Minigishi there, so they're looking great. De Broeker as well. Takashi Odawara, who I'm a huge fan of. I think he's a fantastic player.
And in worst case scenario, if you're having an off day, we'll stick James Younghusband off the bench.
Yeah. And
we can play direct into him. Yeah. And he's probably going to be a threat from set pieces or from a long throw or
correct
from a cross.
They can afford to let Mark Hartman go. That's the kind of quality that they have as a team, They didn't need his talents. They said, it's okay, you can go, right? We still have so much firepower at our disposal. My question is, the departure of Carly seemed like it was okay. But right now, you mentioned earlier that there are a few leaks there at the back, especially if Super is not fit. So
yeah, so on the previous podcast, we were talking about the AFC campaign.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Ceres not having Super in the lineup for the game against TQN. And they looked a little bit suspect at the back in a sort of makeshift back three of Dennis Villanueva, Josh Groman and Sean Kane. And of those three, we would say Josh is probably the only natural centre-back that they've got. And he's probably someone who, in that game, looked a little isolated and would probably look better either in a defensive pairing or perhaps in one of the side centre-back positions alongside someone like Super, who's very good at covering ground. He's got physicality. He's strong, great in the air, and would probably complement Josh a little bit more. But
he commands that area, I think, very well. Like adjusting where his partner is. Right, very good. I think that's one of the keys as well. It's like Groman doesn't have that stature yet.
No, so he's someone who probably could be okay in one of those side back positions. But like Carly was always one we would try to pick on him because we felt that for pace if we can get him in an isolation with Robert Lopez Mendy,
Sure.
I always felt we could potentially create an opportunity there. And it was kind of the same the other night, so it was like, okay, if we can isolate Sean Kane with Lynch, or if we can get Dennis Villeneuve out of position, drag Sean Kane out of position, then all of a sudden we've got options either side of Josh Groman to exploit that space, which lo and behold was how Lynch's goal came about for TQN. So I think there's although you've got so much firepower, and undoubtedly I can't see who's going to keep a clean sheet against that front lineup. I think their back line will need a bit of work. Even someone like Takashi playing in front of them. Let's say if they play a 3-4-3 and they play a midfield two of Manny and Takashi.
Yeah.
I don't know who's doing the defending there.
Yeah.
Because although Takashi is adept at slotting in and playing at centre back, that's not really his natural game. He's an attacking midfielder by nature. So, you're looking at that lineup and you're thinking, okay, great. They've got so many attacking options, different type of options. The physicality of Odawara from a James Young husband, the guile of a Schrock, of a Marignon, the pace of an OJ, pace of a Robert Lopez Mendy. So they've got so many different dynamics, so many different Minagishi. So it's the dimensions that you've got, the different dynamics that you've got in an attacking perspective.
Yeah.
It's in abundance. But I do feel that they're susceptible at the back. I think they're a team that could get bullied. I think they're a team that, if Super is out, they might lack pace and mobility at the back. And, one of their Achilles heels has always been from set pieces. So all of a sudden you take someone who's dominant aerially like Super, you take him out of the equation. Maybe there could be some scope there and might provide a bit of a leveler for some of these teams. If we can capitalize from set pieces, from set plays, maybe that's something that could be their Achilles heel this year. Yeah,
but it's a problem that's only going to exist for a while. Yes. It's only going to exist for one transfer window, because I'm for sure that they are already looking at plugging in those holes as we speak. So if teams are going to capitalize on them, the window is right now, especially in the league. You have to get your results in against Ceres now, because they're going to bulk up that squad. For sure, they're going to have reinforcements in those positions where they're lacking. So, that's where it's exciting. You got to start the league, and you got to start the league fast, because it's only 6 teams that are in there. And if Ceres get their noses in front, as you mentioned, they're not going to let you back in front.
What is it, 4 games? Is it 4 games?
I think 4 rounds, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think the cup is going to be running alongside the league this
concurrent
time. Yeah, rather than at the end of the league. So
which would be better, I think.
Yeah, and the word is that there's going to be a lot more different clubs involved, not just the 6. So the 6 of the league plus around 6 more that are going to be joining. So at least there's going to be some variety week in, week out. There's going to be, maybe you're going to play a guest team today. Tomorrow, in a week's time, you'll be playing against Ceres as usual. And then, a week after, you might have a midweek game, and then again, a different team. So at least there's going to be a little bit of flavor to add, so that not everybody's getting
breaks the monotony a little bit.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, monotony.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, well, I think that's a pretty comprehensive breakdown of the teams. I'm excited to see if there are any additions in terms of signings or any sort of new news that will come out from the PFL.
Yeah.
In the upcoming weeks, but predictions.
I was just gonna say it.
Is it going to be another double? Is it a double for Ceres?
Oh man, there's no way that I can get into this without being biased. There's no chance that I could say anything, because I feel as if there's something special brewing, but I have no evidence to show you why.
That is called bias.
Yeah, exactly. I have no evidence to show you, but I feel as if the team has more of a chance this year in terms of Kaya challenging Ceres. And one of the reasons, as mentioned, is because Ceres look a little susceptible right now. Mm-hmm. And defensively, the team has improved. Kaya has, against teams that hold the ball well. So we'll see. We have enough threatening options available in the squad, I think, that it could make a real difference. It's all a matter of how things gel over the next few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying Kaya for the what?
I want to say the league this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. So you're going to go Kaya number 1.
Yeah.
Dethrone Ceres.
Yeah. and then Ceres will be second in this league.
And who's going to win the cup?
Yeah, it would have been easier for me to say Kaya wins the cup and Ceres wins the league. That's what I would have gone for. Yeah, that seems the more prudent approach. But if that's the case, then I think Ceres will win the cup. Yeah.
Okay. And then these guys with the cup. I mean, for me, it's if the transition which happened sort of mid-season with Ceres, whereby they had sort of off-the-field issues, especially right after the AFC Cup, right? I mean, they basically said, right, if you want to go.
Sure.
And a bunch of guys took up that option. Understandably so, because it seemed like there was an uneven footing and the league was tumultuous. No one really knew what was going to go on, but we're a new sponsor, some teams are coming in. So at least it seems like this league's going to go ahead.
Yeah.
They've still managed to keep the bulk of their squad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They still managed to keep the bulk of their squad. And then I'm looking at some of the additions that they've made. We haven't even really talked about Dennis Villanueva. He's coming in and we said, okay, maybe not left-sided centre-back. He's still a national team caliber player.
Yeah.
Right? So they've got him in there and they've brought in Josh Groman. Got some experience of playing abroad now. Is he going to be moved maybe to the right side centre back, or him and Sean Kane might split time there? But I think Super is still top centre back.
Yep.
Still got Roland in goal, national team caliber goalkeeper. They've replaced the Kevin Ingresso with a Takashi Odawara.
Yeah.
He's not bad like for like swap, right?
Not at all.
And then and they've happened to bring in arguably the best centre midfielder in the Philippines in Manny Ott back to his home. I'm not going to say it's an upgrade from what they had last season.
Yeah.
But it probably is. It probably is. They're probably in a better position than they were this time last year. And they still won the Liga de Canta.
That's right. Lopez Mendy, by the way, integrated Lopez Mendy now. Not just the guy who just dropped in and dropped so many goals. So,
who is disgusting. He is disgusting. And I think it's going to be another season where I can't see anyone toppling them. I can see Robert Lopez Mendy getting 40 goals this season.
Yeah.
And for me, it's feasible.
Yeah.
And that's just and that's just assuming that he's going to get the service from Shockey. Because if he fancies it, he's another one who could probably get 15, 20 goals a season. Marignon, 15, 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
OJ, 15, 20 goals a season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a double-double. It's a double-double for me. At best, I think one of those other teams might be able to spring a surprise in the cup. I mean, look, you saw it yourself last year. Kiev should have taken that Alcantara Cup. They should have taken it. They had the chances. That flourish they had at the end of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Had they taken one of those chances, I think they would have done them in extra time because Ceres were hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
But I just can't see anyone else.
Fair enough.
So I think for me, it's going to be an exciting year. I would love to see.
But who's third? Who's third for you?
That's a good question. I mean, you might even create a sort of mini league, aren't you? Really, between those other four clubs. I mean, I think it's. I know I sort of poked the bear a little bit with you and Global. I can't see Global just being able to attract enough quality local players to be very competitive. And although I think Gary Finnis is a good coach, and he can sort of bring the level up a little bit, I think what he'll be working with just won't be on par with some of the foreign signings that they're going to have at their disposal. So I think where the disparity will lie between them is also going to cause friction, which is something that you've seen in previous years with that particular organisation. Then obviously, the off-the-field stuff is also a question mark. Are some of those things going to be rectified, or is it going to rear its ugly head? We don't know. We don't know who this group is. They're not. They're a faceless organisation at the moment, so we don't really know. My head says the ADT team. My head says I think they've got a sort of strong base. I think they're a team that's probably going to have a clear identity.
Yeah.
With the coaching staff in place, pulling for the national team. I think that angle can't be overlooked. I think putting their national team jersey on, I think will make a big difference. I can just see them causing some upsets. I would probably, if I was a betting man, I'd probably put them in the top 3.
Fourth Stallion? Fourth Global?
No, I think I'd probably put them at 4th. Yeah, I put Stallion at 4th. I still see them as being a consistent outfit.
Yeah.
Again, it just depends on what sort of foreign signings they pick up. I mean, I remember the Korean centre back they picked up. I mean, he was someone who managed to plug a lot of gaps for them at the back. And then they had sort of goalkeeping woes in the back in previous years. So maybe if they could fix that, rectify that, that might be something that will give them the opportunity to have a defensive platform that will keep opponents at bay. I just think Mendiola with a lot of their players leaving, obviously Robert leaving, is one of the more sort of creative outlets. Unless they are able to build from their Sambeda network and try to bring some players through from that network, I just think that they'll be the team sort of trailing at the back, unfortunately.
So you've got Ceres, Kaya, ADT, Stallion, Global, Mendiola.
I would say so.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I would probably say the Global Stallions one is the one that's most sort of interchangeable. I would say they're probably going to be fighting for 4th. The English Premier League Champions League spot. I would say to make the top 4, I would say that would be the one. I'm sort of going to sit on the fence, but I would say Ceres, Kaya, ADT will be the top 3. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Winner of this year goes into the group stage of the Champions League.
That's also, so we not even mentioned that, but I think that's also one of the reasons why I just don't think Ceres is going to let up.
Yeah, that's the incentive is there to really push on. I can't really argue with you with regards to Ceres.
You tried?
Mine is more like, I don't know, like, I was looking at my crystal ball today and, I just came up with this thing. There's no science or reason behind it, but my standings are Kaya, Ceres, Stallion, ADT, Global, Mendiola. I think Stallion, a little bit underrated in their capability to hang with the top clubs. They're experienced, they kept their core. Ernie knows what's up. His team struggled tremendously last year, and Ernie will have spent a lot of time trying to fix that. So I'm hoping that he's got the people that he's been looking for, and I believe Stallion would be the perfect introduction to this level of play, to the likes of ADT and Global, to let you guys know that, all right, you guys think you're going to waltz in here? Nah, we're going to let you guys know that this is a level that's a cut apart in the Philippines. I think Stallion's going to be a good case for that. So those are my standings.
Fair enough. No, I appreciate that. I think your misguided optimism with Kaya winning the league is something where you might fall short, and it's on record now as well. So but you got to stick with your guns, haven't you? You've got to stick by your guns. So
I think something special is brewing.
All right,
that's what I think.
All right, we'll see what happens. But no, it's going to be an exciting year, and I hope that some of these new ideas or new concepts of the league will be made public soon, because I think there's a lot of people who are sitting at home having these conversations in their living rooms, across their dining tables, and what's going to happen? How's this cup going to work out? And I hope that those sort of things need to be cleared up, because in order for people to get excited about these things, there needs to be some information put forth as to this is the plan, this is how we're going to push forward for the PFL 2020. I think once that happens, it will start to generate excitement for the fans. But no, I think it's going to be a good year. Hopefully we can build on some of the successes from last year, improve on some of the aspects which we've touched upon here a little bit in this episode. But no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see what happens in this PFL 2020.
Yeah, just around the corner. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode, the breakdown of the 2020 season of the Philippines Football League. If you enjoyed the show, enjoy the content that we provide here on Across the Line, please do subscribe on our YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Thank you for watching.